Live from KSAT 12, the 6 o'clock news starts right now.
It has been a week and a half since Beryl hit the South Texas coast as a Category 1 hurricane. It sent people in Houston reeling and needing help. So San Antonio police officers answered that call.
And with millions of people left without power in Houston, SAPD helped deal with blackouts and more. Danielle Ibarra sat down with an SAPD lieutenant who describes their experience there after the storm that he hopes helped lighten the load for Houston.
A sea of support rolled into Houston. Agencies from across the state, including San Antonio police, were asked to help.
We really didn't have much information. All we knew was that Houston needed us and we wanted to go support. And I commend those officers that came with us.
Lieutenant David Bacareza is one of 22 San Antonio police officers who answered the call. SAPD sent the most officers of any agency.
We ended up working 12-hour shifts overnight, 6 to 6, sleeping during the day. You saw trees in the middle of the street and lights down. A lot of the traffic lights were not working.
With parts of the city without power, he says Houston police had looting concerns. Houston officers also had damage at their own homes to take care of.
A lot of the businesses were closed because they didn't have any power. So it was a different environment.
Now that you've experienced it, what did you think of it?
I feel for them. I feel for the folks that were there. It's tough.
For 5 days, each San Antonio officer got paired with one from Houston.
It's really rewarding to be able to do that and work with other folks that I've never worked with before.
Houston police and its citizens thankful for the statewide support.
We weren't there to get thanked or anything like that. It was something that we just wanted to go, and we knew the mission and wanted to help out.
Danielle Ibarra, KSAT 12 News.
Another case of San Antonians helping out.
Yeah, and I was just in Galveston yesterday on assignment. Not a lot of damage there, but the amount of line trucks running up and down the road trying to help out people without power, I mean, one every 20 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, we talk a lot about Houston, but I mean, it's really that whole sector got hit with power outages.
Absolutely.
Luckily, nothing like that here, Adam.
And the tropics are very quiet. No development expected anywhere in the Atlantic Basin within the next 5 to 7 days. And here's my main weather headline. This is not a typical July weather pattern here in San Antonio. And that is once we get into next week in particular, what we have coming ahead. Rain, the chances start tomorrow morning and even on into the midday. But even better yet, the rain chances are looking more promising as we get into next week. We're going to talk about the shift in the weather pattern, what it means for our rain chances, and even a shift in our temperatures. Below average for a change. We'll have that coming up.
All right, thank you, Adam. I want to give you an update on some breaking news we had at 5. Let's go to 410 and Jackson Keller right now. This is a live picture. You can see traffic very heavy in both directions, but nothing like it was an hour ago where there was an accident that actually closed down 2 of these lanes, also backed up in the other direction. But you can see traffic is moving. It's heavy out there, but traffic more normal right now at 410 and Jackson Keller.
Yeah, some good news there. What will they do next? That's the question that some people in Floresville are asking themselves after an explosion damaged their homes. We got to look at that damage from overhead today. You can see there that home in ruins. Others in the area near 9th and H Streets have some damage as well, including broken windows. The city of Floresville says a crew installing fiber optic lines accidentally hit an underground gas main yesterday afternoon, and that triggered the explosion.
My house moved, my house cracked the walls and the windows broke, and where I sleep, that's all shattered.
Luckily, most of the people living in this area had evacuated moments before that blast. Thankfully, no one was hurt. It's still unclear, though, who will pay for all these damages.
And you look at all that, and it's a miracle nobody was hurt. And developing right now, President Joe Biden testing positive for COVID. The White House says he's experiencing mild symptoms, but has already been given a first dose of Paxlovid. The president tested positive after an event in Las Vegas. He's scheduled to return to Delaware to isolate.
We are also learning more today about what Secret Service agents knew and when before Saturday's assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. The gunman was reportedly identified as a person of interest 62 minutes before shots were fired. According to an ABC News source, lawmakers were briefed on this information today. Agents at the Pennsylvania rally spotted the gunman on a nearby roof at 5:52 p.m., 10 minutes before Trump walked on stage. He fired shots at the former president at 6:12. Counter snipers killed the gunman less than a minute later. Based on the information given to lawmakers at today's unclassified briefing, his motive is still a mystery.
Meanwhile, it's day 3 of the Republican National Convention. Former President Trump's new running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, expected to speak tonight.
Meanwhile, President Biden is facing some new calls from some big names inside his own party to step down from the election. ABC's Mary Alice Parks is in Milwaukee with the latest.
Former President Donald Trump walking through the convention site in Milwaukee this afternoon, preparing to accept his party's nomination Thursday, while President Biden is facing new calls from inside his own party for him to step out of the race. High-profile Congressman and California Senate candidate Adam Schiff, a longtime Biden ally, now also saying that Biden needs to pass the torch.
I do not think he is the best person to go into this election. I think if he is our nominee, I think we lose.
Democrats now planning to hold a virtual vote the first week of August. In their nominating process, sources telling ABC both Senate Leader Chuck Schumer and House Leader Hakeem Jeffries pushed for this timeline. A poll taken last week and released today by the Associated Press found 65% of Democrats said Biden should withdraw. But on the campaign trail yesterday, President Biden said he's not going anywhere.
I think I've demonstrated that I know how to get things done for the country. There's more to do, and I'm reluctant to walk away from that.
Tonight, Trump's new running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, set to address the Republican National Convention, speaking earlier today at a fundraiser, his first since joining the ticket.
We're going to get out there and try to fire up the crowd tonight and make the case that we have got to reelect President Donald J. Trump to the White House.
Vice President Kamala Harris releasing this video, calling Vance a rubber stamp for Trump's agenda.
Make no mistake, J.D. Vance will be loyal only to Trump, not to our country. And unlike Mike Pence, Vance said he would have carried out Trump's plan to overturn the 2020 election.
Earlier today at a press conference in Milwaukee, Democrats pointing to Senator Vance's hardline position on abortion. And tonight here at the convention hall, we know the focus will be foreign policy. That's an issue where Senator Vance, as an isolationist, has really disagreed with the more traditional Republicans in his party. Mary Alice Parks, ABC News, Milwaukee.
I have a couple of updates we want to tell you about. We're learning the name of a man whose body was found just off the southbound lanes of 281 earlier this month. Here's video from that scene. The medical examiner's office says that man was 20-year-old Alexis Jose Vegas. According to San Antonio police, Vegas's body seen by a passerby in a drainage ditch on July 2nd. Police say his body was riddled with gunshots. The case being investigated as a homicide. At this time, no suspect information is known.
Now to another update as well. You might remember a fiery crash that we followed all throughout the day last Friday. Well, the medical examiner's office says they have identified the driver who died in that crash. 36-year-old Paul Anthony Goodson died in the crash along Southwest Loop 410 near Medina Base Road. For some reason, Goodson's car crossed into the northbound lanes of 410 and crashed into an 18-wheeler. His car split in two and then caught fire. As of right now, police don't know what led Goodson to drive into oncoming traffic.
He's innocent. That's the message that Jonathan Tijerina's family has for the public as he stands trial for capital murder.
Tijerina is accused of robbing and killing a 20-year-old man in 2022. His mother and sister tell our Erica Hernandez they believe he was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
He is not a murderer.
Lucia Huerta clutches a rosary as she tells us that her son Jonathan Tijerina is not the person he is being portrayed as.
Jonathan is a caring, kind young man who always looked after others, always had friends. He has a heart of gold. I know that he's not a murderer because of the person that I've raised.
According to testimony on May 29, 2022, Tijerina was at a hookah lounge when he went outside to talk to a friend in the parking lot. Takai Michael was also sitting in that vehicle. Prosecutors say 5 other armed men approached the car and robbed the people inside. Michael was fatally shot. The other 5 men have since taken a plea deal. Tijerina's sister Savannah says he was not going to do the same.
He went to trial because he is innocent. He believes that he is not guilty, and we stand by him, and we will always stand by him. And we know for a fact that he's not guilty. There's proof. There's the evidence.
Lucia admits her son was there, but does not believe he is guilty of capital murder.
My son is a kid. He's a kid. He's made mistakes. he was there when he was not supposed to be. You know,
just like many
other kids.
As for any words for the family of the victim,
we are very sympathetic towards the family.
Towards his family.
But, you know, and it's very sad. We're very heartbroken that it happened. But I just want the family to know that my brother is not the one who did it.
So yesterday we said if he was found guilty, he would automatically be sentenced to life in prison without parole. But because he was 17 when this crime was committed, we are being told today that if still found guilty, he would still be sentenced to life in prison, but there would be a possibility of parole after he served 30 years. Now testimony will resume tomorrow. Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
Have you heard of forever chemicals? New federal regulations limit how much of these chemicals can be in our drinking water. But what are they, and how are we exposed to them?
Just about every organ and function in our body seems to be impacted by these chemicals.
Do you think it's safe to say that everyone, and I truly mean everyone, has been exposed to these chemicals?
I don't see how it would be possible that they weren't.
In a new KSAT Explains, we look at forever chemicals, how they're used, what SAWS says it found when testing our drinking water, and what you can do to minimize your exposure. KSAT Explains is coming up at 6:30.
It's still ahead. The United States Air Force helping local students find their passion. The intense yet fun 3 weeks of learning they are doing that can help a student find a future career, maybe.
We just got a firsthand look at some new equipment coming out of the Center for the Intrepid at Fort Sam Houston's military base. It's going to be used in medical combat situations. We'll give you a detailed description and look at what this equipment is doing coming up on the Night Beat.
It could be the beginning of future aerospace engineering and Air Force careers right here in San Antonio.
Yeah, students selected from all across the country are at UTSA for Aim High Flight Academy to learn how to fly. They tell Courtney Friedman what this program means to them and why others should try it too.
For some, it's one step in fulfilling a dream.
I'm interested in pursuing a career within the military, specifically the Air Force. So over at Texas State, where I go to college, they have an AFROTC program, and I'm a cadet within them.
For others, it's a hobby that with experience could turn into a career.
My grandpa's in the Air Force. There's something about getting to study without the pressure of grades, where it's like, oh, I genuinely want to learn this.
Both Kylie Martini and Zaina Dilawar were chosen from applications across the nation to join the Aim High Flight Academy, run by the Air Force Recruiting Service.
It's this really excellent opportunity for high school students to actually get a chance to get up to 15 flight hours, really get the basics of learning how to fly an aircraft. And UTSA was fortunate enough to be selected as one of the 8 host universities this year.
Chris Combs is the Aerospace Engineering Program Director for UTSA and an Associate Professor in Mechanical Engineering.
It's not just Military City, USA, but it's an aerospace city.
Combs says Texas and specifically San Antonio need a diverse and expanding workforce. And this type of program starts that search at younger ages.
You're doing this to see what your interest is in aviation, and then if you want to pursue it, they give you the opportunity.
I think anybody who might enjoy it or think they might enjoy it, seriously, just reach out and go for it.
It's not only an exhilarating 3 weeks, but could propel them into a long-lasting career. Courtney Friedman, KSAT 12 News.
The next round of applications for the Aim High Flight Academy opens up in October. If you're interested, head to the website to find out more information. We also have that on KSAT.com.
Something we don't usually get to say in July, but bring on the rain.
Yeah.
Well, yes, not just rain chances, but also below average temperatures.
I was going to save that for 6:30.
Oh, I
bring
see.
on the cooler temperatures.
I'll give that a high kick at 6:30.
All right,
for
there
you,
you
okay?
go. Thank you.
6:45.
Oh,
precisely.
Sorry. Yeah.
Let's start with our rain chances for tomorrow, and check this out. You know, at 7 a.m. at 20%, but then we ramp them up to 40% from 9 a.m. all the way through 1 p.m. So scattered or widely separated showers with some rumbles of thunder, non-severe storms, and even a little bit of activity lingering into the mid-afternoon, especially south and west of town. Right now we have a few little pop-up showers, very brief splash and dash in Lavaca County, just north of Hallettsville at the moment. It's not going to last very long. What we're watching is this broken line of showers that you see off to the north of us, that's actually along a weak cool front, not the kind of cold front that's going to change how it feels outside, more of a little wind shift line that helps develop showers and storms. That's going to keep pushing southward, make its way into the hill country later tonight. And it could kickstart a few showers in the hill country, but we think after sunset, it's going to be hard to really sustain a lot of the showers off to the north. So a little bit of remnant activity possible in the hill country later tonight. Better odds of rain as we get into the morning tomorrow once the front really starts to make it closer to San Antonio and on into the midday. Here's one example of what could happen here. By 9 a.m. tomorrow, some activity popping up, scattered in nature, and then through the noon hour, those scattered showers and rumbles of thunder lasting into the early afternoon before pushing to the south and west of San Antonio. No, not everybody's going to get it, as is typical with these types of situations and patterns, but it's just good to be talking about rain chances this time of year here in San Antonio. Friday, Saturday, an isolated pop-up shower possible. Sunday, we're at 30% isolated, but more promising into next week. Monday through Wednesday and maybe even beyond. We like what we see because of a shift in our pattern that's also going to bring below average temperatures. Today we hit 97. The average high is 95, so just barely above average. Triple digits, Carrizo Springs and Del Rio, both 100 for the high temperature today. The upper level heat high, the big blue H. It's over the Four Corners states, off to the west of us. That's where it's going to stay and actually camp out for several days. And that opens the door for this weak little disturbance, but it's something to drop into the central U.S. and help maintain some rain-making energy and bring us some cooler than average high temperatures as we get into next week. So where you have that upper level disturbance is drawing some cooler air southward. Where you have the heat high, the big blue H, that's where you have the above average temperatures, warmer than average in the western U.S. But a good chunk of actually all of Texas and the midsection of the country, cooler than average for mid-July next week. Well, let's get into the temperatures. Tomorrow, 78 in the morning. 94 for the high temperature. So mid-90s tomorrow, near average, even slightly below in locations. Hondo 95, Bulverde 92, and Floresville 94. We get into the weekend, or I should say Friday 97, the weekend mid-90s, and then next week, talking near 90, maybe even some upper 80s with those better rain chances. Not your typical July forecast, that's for sure.
Yeah,
loving it.
We don't mind that. Thank you, Adam.
All right, the WNBA right now having unparalleled popularity.
Yes.
So we've decided to cover a local woman who is right in the middle of it all.
Absolutely. So Nalissa Smith, she's a second-year forward with the Indiana Fever. She's, of course, playing with her brand-new rookie teammate, Caitlin Clark. Mary Rominger is live with more coming up. And Booyah, say it with me, Spree, Booyah was clutch for the Spurs coming up.
This is really good. I think she can just do so many different things offensively. I think she's just so athletic. I always try to look for her when she's running the floor.
Caitlin Clark and Nalissa Smith are forming a nice chemistry on the basketball court in big board sports. So Caitlin Clark, Nalissa Smith, and the Indiana Fever are now in Arlington, getting ready to take on the Dallas Wings tonight at College Park Center. The Fever held shoot-around there this morning ahead of their first meeting with the Wings of the season, and KSAT 12 Sports is there. Let's go live to College Park Center, where Mary Rominger has more on the East Central alum, Nalissa Smith.
Hey Larry, success seems to follow Nalissa Smith everywhere she goes. It started in high school. Smith brought East Central to the playoffs every year of her varsity career. From there, the 6'4" forward was an important piece in Baylor winning the NCAA National Championship her freshman year. Now, many accolades later, Smith finds herself in an ideal situation in year 3 with Indiana as one of the Fever's big 3 that also features Aaliyah Boston and phenom Caitlin Clark. With the record-breaking audiences that Clark is attracting, the team has a chance to do something that hasn't been done since 2016.
I
it's huge for us. That's our biggest goal, is to make the playoffs. So every game we're going to take seriously, no matter the rankings, and we're going to go in and try to win.
Well, right now, Indiana is aiming for a win tonight so they can go into the month-long break on a high note. And Smith's family is in the building for her first game in Texas since the preseason. Smith's mom and dad are so excited to see her take the court in front of a sellout crowd here at College Park Center.
This is wonderful. We have been waiting to come to Dallas. We've been waiting for her to play in Dallas. We would not miss her coming to Dallas for anything. So this has been a great experience, and we are so happy to be here, and we are so happy to have her back here in Texas.
We will be front and center. I'll probably sneak on the floor and get floor seats, but we're going to be right there up front and center watching history.
So great to see Smith's parents, and also if I could count how many Caitlin Clark jerseys that I've seen so far, it'd be a lot. A sellout crowd again here tonight. So much excitement. There's a long month break for the Olympics, and then of course the All-Star break. So plenty of excitement. Tip-off is at 6:30. Larry, back to you.
Thank you, Mary. So the Spurs beat the Pelicans 90-85 last night, improving to 3-0 in Las Vegas. They're one of three teams that are 3-0. Spurs guard Jamari Bouye was key in crunch time, hitting a step-back three-pointer with 45 seconds to go, and then a step-back jumper with 21 seconds left in regulation. Bouye came through when the team needed him the most.
Like I said, we all fight, we all fight, and no matter the score at the end of the game, we want to leave our hearts and leave everything out there. So I think didn't make shots early tonight, and I think towards the end of the game, my team needed me to step up and make shots, and that's what I tried to do.
3-0 Spurs will next play the 2-1 76ers Friday night, 7:30 in Las Vegas. And a big shout out to the Bernie Little League baseball team who won the state title in Abilene and the title of Texas West. The team will be playing in the Southwest Regional Tournament in Waco starting August the 1st as they look to make it to Williamsport for the Little League World Series.
Go Bernie.
Go Bernie, yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks, Larry.
KSAT Explains Forever Chemicals is coming up next.
Have you heard of Forever Chemicals? They've been making headlines recently with new federal regulations targeting our drinking water.
So where do these chemicals come from, and what do we know so far about how they impact our health? Here's KSAT Explains.
What are Forever Chemicals?
It's a series of thousands of chemicals.
Makeup, cosmetics and personal care items.
In your waterproof clothing.
Rain gear, even things in furniture.
They're used in a lot of industrial processes.
All kinds of food packaging and cookware and clothing.
Oils, lubricants, sunscreens.
They don't break down easily. They persist in the environment for a long time.
Hundreds, some people even say thousands of years to break down.
That's the reason they came to be called the Forever Chemicals, otherwise known as PFAS.
PFAS
chemicals. PFAS compounds are per and polyfluoroalkyl substances.
PFAS chemicals were invented in the 1930s. They made things non-stick and waterproof. Years ago, they were most widely known for their use in firefighting foam and non-stick pots and pans. But today, they're seemingly everywhere and in everything.
They seem to end up in our air, our water, our soil very easily.
That means exposure to these chemicals is nearly impossible to avoid, and that comes with potentially serious health effects.
Definitely more research is needed. What we know right now, the data suggests that there are strong associations with some health conditions.
They range from some kinds of cancers to disturbing effects on things like our reproductive system.
Developmental effects on women and children.
Changes in your liver function. Some suggest decreased immunity or antibody production to certain vaccines. There seems to be an association with kidney cancers and testicular cancers.
Not all exposures are going to have the same kinds of risks and health effects.
What we're looking here is the Cibolo Creek.
The Edwards Aquifer Authority has been testing for PFAS for 7 years now.
And unfortunately, yes, we found instances where we can detect PFAS at very, very low levels, but we can detect it in aquifer waters and the streams that feed the aquifer and the springs that discharge from the aquifer.
So how could they end up in groundwater?
So as you have more development or you potentially have more waste streams in those areas, there's always a possibility that you could affect the PFAS concentration.
In April of 2024, for the first time, the Environmental Protection Agency set nationwide limits on the level of forever chemicals in drinking water.
We've established limits for 6 PFAS that are known to occur in drinking water. We've set levels at 4 parts per trillion for those 2, and then we've set limits at 10 parts per trillion for 3 others.
Water suppliers have 3 years to begin testing for PFAS. If the level of forever chemicals is above the EPA limit, suppliers must then treat the water to reduce those levels within 5 years.
The testing is very, very strict.
Robert Puente, president and CEO of SAWS, says they have already begun that testing and reported the levels to the EPA as required.
We did go around to our different wells, our different sources, tested. We had all undetectable amounts except for one particular spot. That was in the Castle Hills, one of the Castle Hills wells.
Undetectable, according to SAWS, means PFAS levels in the water were below the EPA limit of 4 parts per trillion. As for that higher reading in Castle Hills, Puente says it was an anomaly.
But we retested a couple of weeks later, and what we knew to do was to change out the hose bib, the part where the water comes out of the well, and that's really what happened, is that once we retested it, there was no longer a detection on it. So we feel that that's very safe water.
So how are these chemicals considered undetectable by SAWS, but have been detected by the Edwards Aquifer Authority? The EAA uses a lower threshold, 1 part per trillion compared to 4 parts.
The levels of PFAS are extremely low, all below any regulatory limit, and a lot of times right at the detection level. So very, very difficult to even see them without specialized testing.
And Bertetti says in the 7 years the EAA has been monitoring forever chemicals, the amounts haven't really increased.
Things seem to be steady as far as we can tell.
Is there a concern that could change, though?
It's always possible.
It's added protection because it's groundwater. San Antonio is very lucky.
It's important to remember there are thousands of forever chemicals. The EPA regulation targets 6 of them.
The good news is that many of them have similar properties, so when we're treating water to remove certain PFAS, we're likely getting others, even though we're not necessarily specifically regulating those ones.
There are some things you can do to minimize your exposure, like adding an activated carbon filter or reverse osmosis filter to your drinking water.
So it actually sticks to the activated carbon as a molecule. And the reverse osmosis is very fine sort of filtering mechanism, if you will, with that membrane, and that prevents these very sort of larger molecules from getting past the membrane.
Though for SAWS customers, Puente maintains such filters are not necessary.
If you want it because of PFAS, you don't need it. We take this very seriously. We understand that our product is put into your bodies.
Product awareness is key. It's so often up to us as consumers to know what's in the things we use, as the research and possible regulation of these forever chemicals hopefully continues to flow.
It's very hard for us to protect ourselves on our own, and that's the reason it's really important to support local and state and national decision makers who are dedicated to trying to eliminate the risk for all of us.
Now you can watch this or any other KSAT Explained story by scanning this QR code. You can also find our stories on the KSAT YouTube page and let us know what you want explained. You can send in your ideas at ksat.com/explains.
All right, I want to point something out here because when SAWS talks and almost everybody that's watching this on SAWS water, they have tested. They have not treated.
They are not treating, they are only testing. And remember, SAWS says that what they have tested has shown undetectable amounts. And I asked Robert Puente, the CEO of SAWS, do they even know what testing or treating rather would look like at this point? He said no, but he knows the cost would be incredibly expensive.
Yeah, another reason why San Antonio is lucky that it has such a good water supply when it comes to PFAS.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did I say that right? PFAS?
PFAS,
Yeah.
PFAS.
Okay, I'm not going to say the title.
Forever chemicals.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
How much coffee do you drink? About 4 or 5 cups of coffee a day. That is generally how much caffeine the FDA says is safe for a healthy adult.
All right. However, some are more sensitive to the drug than others. Mandy Gaither goes into details on how caffeine affects our bodies.
You can find it in chocolate, soda, tea, and coffee. Caffeine has become a part of life for many. In fact, it's consumed daily by about 80% of adults worldwide.
Caffeine certainly gives you that feeling of alertness. It reduces your feeling of fatigue or tiredness.
Dietitian Julia Zumpano with Cleveland Clinic says it works by blocking adenosine receptors in your brain. Those receptors slow down nerve activity, which make us feel tired. That helps explain the afternoon crash some may feel when the effects of their morning coffee wear off.
It's important to understand your threshold, how you react to caffeine, how much you're having, how you're dosing it throughout the day.
For most people, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration says moderate caffeine consumption can be part of a healthy diet, but overuse can lead to side effects like insomnia, jitters, anxiousness, fast heart rate, upset stomach, nausea, headache, and a feeling of unhappiness. Zumpano says it's also important to pay attention to the source of your caffeine.
If it's in a sugary beverage or coffee drink that's containing a tremendous amount of sugar, calories, or fat, we're really not gaining the benefit.
Since caffeine affects everyone differently, Zumpano says to measure how much you can handle without having any negative side effects.
I usually say start low, start small, and then add very gradually.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
This is one of the most amazing things to me when you talk about caffeine.
Yeah.
I always wonder how much caffeine
Oh,
Adam
I know what
Caskey
you're about to
has.
say. Yeah.
And the answer is very little.
Very little. I love the taste of coffee, but I got to do half calf at best, and it just.
I mean, because sometimes you're pretty amped up, so that's why this was like. I always think you're very caffeinated.
Can you imagine full calf Caskey?
But would it be like a reverse effect?
Full calf Caskey is really Alan Klasky.
Oh, yeah, we've seen him.
Okay, all right.
He's fun. He's fun.
Yeah.
He's unique.
Yeah.
Unique's a better word. So 97, that was but really, I mean, I don't have coffee during the day. I have a little touch of it in the morning, half calf, and that's about it.
I'm fine with decafski.
Decafski's better. My wife prefers decafski. Sometimes if it's calfski, then she's like, honey, the engine's running a little too high right now. Okay, yeah. Yeah, you can tell she works in elementary education as well. The engine's running. 97 our high today. We've had 12 100-degree days so far this year. Compare that to last year when we were at 23. We're talking below average temperatures on the way and decent rain chances. We'll get to it in just a bit.
In today's 60-second recap, the city of Floresville rattled after a fiber optic company hit a gas line and caused a huge explosion. A house flattened and other buildings damaged. Now neighbors are working to clean up the mess that was left behind.
Plus, the family of a 19-year-old teen on trial speaking out. The mother and sister of Jonathan Tiarina saying he's innocent in the killing of a man outside of a hookah lounge in 2022. If found guilty, Tiarina faces a life sentence with the possibility of parole after 30 years.
San Antonio police officers back from Houston after they gave a helping hand in the hurricane relief efforts there in the city. Beryl hit as a Category 1 hurricane last week and knocked out power to 2 million people. 98% of customers should have their power back on by the end of the day in the Houston area.
Now we turn things over to Decafski.
Decafski.
Adam Caskey talking about the fact that we have much cooler temperatures for July.
We do. Below average, and I promised it earlier. Pow! Gets a high kick. It does. When I get excited, I do the high kick. I can't help it. I get excited sometimes, and I just have to physically react. And so this is not your usual July forecast. That's my main headline here. Unusual, not a typical July pattern here in San Antonio and our surrounding areas. Rain chances start tomorrow. Yeah, there could be a few showers in the hill country tonight, but we think better chances in the morning and midday tomorrow. And temperatures dropping below average, particularly by early next week. Right now, a few pop-up splash and dash brief, short-lived showers. Lavaca County, this isn't going to add up to much, very quick. Most of us missing out. Tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., a 20% chance, but by 9 a.m., we're up to 40%. That 40% lasts all the way through 1 p.m., and then the rain chances taper off a little bit thereafter. So no, not everybody's going to get it tomorrow, but cross your fingers because your neighborhood could get some quick downpours, kind of like what we've had in days past with a little bit of lightning and thunder, but nothing severe. And then Friday, not big odds. We have it at 10%, 20 to 30% Saturday and Sunday. It's next week, starting Monday and pretty much the rest of the week, a more promising pattern for daily rain chances. Right now, what we're talking about is this bit of broken activity in parts of North Texas that's been developing along a weak cool front, more of a wind shift line than anything. Not the kind of cold front that changes how it feels outside. Just a wind shift line that helps generate some showers. That'll drop southward, and we could, in the Edwards Plateau, have some showers later this evening, and even in the hill country tonight. Some of the leftovers could move in during the nighttime hours, but we don't expect there to be very much. It's tomorrow, once that front drops closer to San Antonio, should start to redevelop some activity. And for the tail end of the morning commute, all the way through about 1 p.m., that's when we think our sweet spot is for these widely separated showers, non-severe storms, some rumbles of thunder, and then it moves south and west of town through the afternoon hours. So again, coverage is going to be about 40% of our area, not everybody getting it, but you could get a quick half inch to inch in some of the most fortunate neighborhoods. Look at the temperature trend. 94 tomorrow. 97 on Friday, then we're back down. And we even drop into the upper 80s by Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. The upper level heat high, not centered overhead. It's going to be in the western U.S. for several days. And that opens the door for this weak disturbance to drop in from Canada and sit and meander over the central U.S. for several days. That's also going to bring cooler than average temperature. So the blue here, this is a Climate Prediction Center, a 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. And this blue is the likelihood of below average temperatures. And that's right over our area in Texas. Of course, where that heat high is in the western U.S., warmer than average. So they'll have the heat cranked up again. But we're not complaining about what we're seeing around here for this time of year, considering what it was like last year at this time and what it often is. It's good to have rain chances in the forecast. This isn't drought busting, but it's better than nothing, especially for July.
Absolutely. Thanks, Adam.
All right, yesterday I promised a Mirage story. Didn't have
right.
time. We're going to talk about it today coming up. To the buzz, and it's the end of the era. The Mirage Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas closing its doors today after 34 years of business. And this week, before they did that, they had to give away a lot of money to meet state regulations.
Yeah, the iconic casino will be transformed now into a new Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. That's set to open in 2027. It will feature a nearly 700-foot guitar-shaped hotel at the center of the Vegas Strip. The Mirage opened on the Strip in 1989.
I always liked the Mirage. All right, today is the day to text all your friends and family your favorite emojis. It's World Emoji Day. An annual chance to reflect on the thousands of symbols and smileys we've come to love, laugh, and lament.
The emoji called Face with Tears of Joy, that remains the most popular choice across generations to convey laughter. I think we should send Adam Caskey just a bunch of texts with emojis to convey.
Nothing he loves more than World Whatever Day. I think the one I use the most is thumbs up.
You do use that one a lot.
I do.
I'm the wink with the tongue sticking out.
Yeah.
It's for my sarcasm.
Because the rolling eye one hasn't been developed yet.
Yeah, it should be.
We'll be right back.
So I just checked my phone to send a text message and tapped on the emoji, and it shows you your most used ones.
Yeah.
It's the shrug, it's the face palm, and then the smile, and then the laughing on the rolling laugh, whatever you call it. Raffle, rolling on the floor laughing.
I think I've received all of those.
I know. I think I received all of them just today from him.
And then the mind blown.
Yep.
It can say a lot about a person, I think, what your most used emojis
I think
are.
you're right.
I don't mind this National Day or International Day.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a
conversation thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't even talk about the 7-day forecast.
Yeah.